I never thought I'd be sitting in my car, crying over $50,000 I didn't even want. The autumn rain pelted my windshield, matching the tears streaming down my face as I stared at the wrought iron gates of my parents' estate. Inside that mansion, my family was probably laughing about how pathetic their failure of a daughter had become. My name is Lara, and I just got denied help from my own family's emergency fund, money that was supposedly set aside for any Holmes family member in crisis. The irony? I hadn't even wanted to ask. My best friend Ruby practically forced me to try. "They're your family," she'd said. "Just swallow your pride and ask. What's the worst that could happen?" Well, Ruby, this. This was the worst that could happen. I replayed the scene in my head. Walking into Father's study, where Mother sat perched on the leather armchair like some bird of prey. My brother Trenton lounging against the desk, smirking before I'd even opened my mouth. His wife Soleil, pretending to be absorbed in her phone, but I knew she was recording every moment of my humiliation for later gossip. "I wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important," I'd started, hating how small my voice sounded. "The gallery space I've been saving for. The lease is available now, but—" "Oh, darling," Mother cut in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "The emergency fund is for real emergencies, not artistic ventures." "It's not just that," I pressed on. "My apartment building's being converted to condos. I need first and last month's rent for a new place, plus the gallery deposit. I can pay it back." Trenton's laugh cut through the air like a knife. "Pay it back? With what? Your finger paintings?" "They're mixed media installations," I corrected automatically, but I knew it was pointless. "Lara," Father finally spoke, not even looking up from his newspaper. "Failures don't get lifelines. Perhaps it's time to consider a real career." The words hit like physical blows. I'd been preparing for rejection, but the casual cruelty still stunned me. 6-year-old Sawyer, Trenton's son, chose that moment to run in, clutching a drawing he'd made. The contrast was stark. Soleil immediately cooed over his creative expression while my own sat dismissed. "I have a real career," I managed to say. "I just need—" "What you need," Mother interrupted, "is to grow up. Trenton was managing hedge funds at your age. He never needed handouts, except for his MBA tuition, and his down payment, and his wedding," I muttered. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "I think we're done here," Mother said icily. "Douglas, darling, wasn't there something about Trenton's promotion you wanted to discuss?" I stood there for a moment, invisible. That's when I remembered the envelope in my bag. The one Grandnora had given me before she died 3 months ago, making me promise not to open it until I truly needed it. "When they show you who they really are," she'd whispered, her eyes sharp despite her weakness. Walking out, Sawyer tugged at my sleeve. "Aunt Lara, why are you crying?" "I'm not, buddy. Just the rain." I forced a smile, ruffling his hair. "Mother," Soleil called sharply. "Come here." I watched him trudge back, another artist in the making who'd probably have his wings clipped too. Now, sitting in my car, I pulled out Gran's envelope. It was thick, legal-sized, sealed with wax like something from another era. That was Gran. Always dramatic, always precise. My hands shook as I broke the seal. The first page was a letter in her familiar, spidery handwriting. "My dearest Lara, if you're reading this, they've finally shown their true colors. I've watched them diminish you for years, waiting for them to change. They won't. But you, my clever girl, you see the world differently. That's not weakness. It's your strength. And now it's time for you to show them exactly how strong you are. The documents enclosed will explain everything. Call Theodore Young. His card is attached. He's been my attorney for 30 years, and now he's yours. Remember, revenge is a dish best served with paperwork. All my love and all my power, Gran." I flipped through the pages, my eyes widening at the signatures, the clauses, the implications. My tears dried as understanding dawned. Oh, Gran, you magnificent, devious woman. I started my car, pulling out my phone to call the number on Theodore's card. The rain had stopped, and for the first time in years, I felt the sun breaking through. They wanted to talk about real power? Fine. Let's talk. Theodore's office wasn't what I expected. No mahogany desk or pretentious law books. Instead, it was modern, minimalist, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The man himself matched his space, crisp, direct, with eyes that missed nothing. Right on time, he said, rising to shake my hand. Your grandmother always said you were the punctual one. Gran talked about me. Nora talked about you constantly. He gestured to a chair. Coffee? Please. While he poured from a sleek machine that probably cost more than my car, I pulled out Gran's documents. I'm still trying to understand all this. Let me simplify it. He sat across from me, sliding over a steaming cup. Your grandmother was worth approximately $280 million. I choked on my coffee. What? The family fortune everyone attributes to your parents? It's actually Nora's. She let them believe they were in control, but she held the puppet strings. And now, he tapped the papers, those strings are yours. But how? Mother always said Gran was just living off her inheritance from Grandpa. Theodore's laugh was sharp. Nora built an empire while your grandfather played golf. She just let him take the credit. Sound familiar? It did. Too familiar. He pulled out a tablet, swiping through documents. The Holmes Family Trust, the emergency fund, the corporate holdings, including the firm where your brother works, it all flows from Nora's separate estate. She made you sole trustee. Trenton's promotion. I remembered Mother's words from yesterday. Requires trustee approval. That's you. My head spun. They'll fight this. They'll try. Theodore's smile was wolfish. And they'll lose. Nora spent years making this ironclad. Here's something interesting. That emergency fund they denied you? You technically own it. I sat back, letting that sink in. Show me everything. For the next hour, Theodore walked me through my newfound empire. Property holdings, investment portfolios, corporate structures. With each revelation, I felt Gran's presence stronger, like she was watching with that knowing smirk of hers. There's more, Theodore said, pulling out an old photograph. Nora left this for you. The photo showed Gran in her 30s, standing proudly in front of a gallery. Her gallery, I realized with a start. She was an artist too, Theodore explained. Her family reacted much like yours. So she built her own success, her own way. Sound familiar? My throat tightened. Why didn't she tell me? She wanted you to find your own path. But she left you tools. He handed me a leather-bound journal. Her words, her wisdom, her secrets. She thought you'd need them. I opened it randomly. They think money is power. Real power is knowing when to use it and when to reveal you had it all along. One more thing. Theodore pulled out a final folder. The emergency fund's complete transaction history. Particularly interesting are the withdrawals Trenton made last year. My eyes widened as I scanned the numbers. These are massive and unauthorized? Very. He's been playing fast and loose, assuming no one was watching. Your parents, too. They've treated it like a personal piggy bank. How public can we go with this? Theodore's smile widened. As public as you want. But might I suggest something more strategic? I leaned forward. I'm listening. Family dinner. Neutral ground. Let them think they're in control one last time. Then, he gestured to the document spread between us. The complete reveal. I felt a smile spreading across my face. Gran would approve. She would. She also left instructions about the gallery space you wanted. My heart skipped. The lease? Already purchased. In your name. Nora arranged it months ago. Tears pricked my eyes, but these weren't like yesterday's. She thought of everything. Almost. Theodore handed me one final envelope. This is your first official act as trustee. Formal notice of a full trust audit. All beneficiaries must submit complete financial records within 30 days. I pictured Trenton's face when this landed on his desk. Mother's carefully maintained composure cracking. Father's newspaper wouldn't hide him from this. When do we start?
We already have. I've booked the private room at Maison Rouge for Friday night. Your family's favorite restaurant, I believe? Mother's, I corrected. She loves showing off there. Perfect. Shall we make it a night to remember? I thought of all the dinners I'd endured there, being talked over, dismissed, diminished. Now it would be my turn to speak. Yes, I said, signing the audit notice with a flourish. Let's give them a dinner they'll never forget.
Theodore raised his coffee cup in a mock toast. To Nora. To Gran, I echoed. And to consequences. Maison Rouge's private dining room felt like a stage set for a play. Crystal glasses caught the light from the chandelier. White tablecloths, crisp as new money. My family filed in exactly as expected. Mother leading, father trailing with his newspaper, Trenton and Soleil wearing matching smirks. Darling, Mother said, air kissing my cheek. So dramatic, calling a family dinner. I learned from the best. I gestured to the seats. Please, sit. Ruby squeezed my hand under the table. I'd insisted she be here. I needed one person who actually had my back. Theodore stood quietly by the door, laptop ready. Who are they? Trenton demanded, eyeing my supporters. You remember Ruby, and this is Theodore Young, Gran's attorney. Mother's perfectly plucked eyebrows twitched. Nora's lawyer? Why would... Wine? I interrupted, nodding to the sommelier. The 82 Bordeaux, I think? Mother's favorite. That's not on the menu, she said sharply. It's reserved for... special customers. I called ahead. Apparently the owner remembers Gran quite fondly. The sommelier appeared with the bottle. Compliments of the house, Ms. Holmes. Your grandmother was an early investor. I watched that land. Mother's smile froze. Trenton shifted uncomfortably. Before we eat, I said, there's something we need to discuss. If this is about the emergency fund again, Trenton started. Actually, it is. I nodded to Theodore, who began distributing folders. These are formal notices of a trust audit. You have 30 days to submit complete financial records. Soleil's fork clattered against her plate. Excuse me? As trustee of the Holmes Family Trust, I'm exercising my right to review all transactions. The silence was delicious. Father's newspaper lowered slowly. Trustee? Mother's voice could have frozen hell. What nonsense is this? Theodore stepped forward, opening his laptop. Perhaps this will explain. He pressed play. Gran's face filled the screen, thin but sharp-eyed, recorded months before her death. If you're watching this, my family, then Laura has finally opened my last gift. And you're about to learn some uncomfortable truths. Mother started to speak, but Gran's voice commanded attention. The fortune you've been living on, it's mine. Not Douglas's inheritance, not Evelyn's family money. I built it, every penny, and I've chosen my successor carefully. The video continued, Gran methodically destroying every possible legal challenge. When it ended, the silence was absolute. Trenton recovered first. This is ridiculous. You can't just... She can, Theodore interrupted. And she has. Shall we discuss your unauthorized withdrawals from the emergency fund last year? Soleil's head snapped toward her husband. What withdrawals? Or perhaps, I added, Mother's creative accounting with the property holdings? You wouldn't dare, Mother hissed. Try me. I pulled out my phone, showing an email draft. One click and the audit goes public. every transaction, every hidden account, every secret deal. Father finally spoke. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you taught me to." I met his eyes. "Actions have consequences, remember? That's what you always said." The sommelier chose that moment to return with our appetizers. The normalcy of it, the tiny portions, the artistic plating, seemed absurd against our imploding reality. "Effective immediately," I continued once we were alone again. "All beneficiaries need to submit budgets for monthly allowance approval. And Trenton," I smiled at my brother, "about that promotion you were discussing? Let's review your qualifications." "You little—" He started to rise, but Soleil grabbed his arm. "Think carefully," she whispered. "Not here."
Oh, and Mother? I took a sip of wine. The Hamptons house? I'm turning it into an artist residency program. In Grand's name, of course. She went pale. You can't. The summer galas will now feature emerging artists instead of emerging debutantes. Isn't that exciting? Ruby kicked me under the table, our signal that I was pushing too far. She was right. Time to land the plane.
"This can go two ways," I said, softening my tone. "We can work together, establish transparent oversight, and move forward as a family. Or," I gestured to Theodore's laptop, "we can do this publicly. Your choice." "You'll regret this," Trenton snarled. "No," I replied calmly. "I really won't." I stood, dropping my napkin on my untouched plate. "Theodore will email the full requirements tomorrow. 30 days, remember? Oh, and the bill's taken care of. Grand's standing account." As Ruby and I walked out, I heard Mother's sharp intake of breath, Soleil's furious whispers, Father's heavy sigh. Music to my ears. "You okay?" Ruby asked in the elevator. I thought about Grand's journal entry. "The first strike must be decisive. Leave no room for doubt." "I'm perfect," I replied, stepping into the night air. "Absolutely perfect." The knock on my studio door came at exactly 2 p.m. I knew it was Soleil before I opened it, only she would schedule a drop-by visit through my assistant. Thank you, Theodore, for insisting I needed one. "Lara, darling," she air-kissed both cheeks, wafting expensive perfume. "Your new space is so quaint." I let the jab slide. The converted warehouse was exactly what I wanted. High ceilings, natural light, and not a trace of my family's preferred aesthetic. "What brings you here, Soleil? Can't a sister-in-law visit?" She perched on my paint-splattered couch like it might bite. "Especially after such an interesting dinner." Interesting is one word for it. "Trenton's been impossible since then." She examined her manicure. "The board meeting about his promotion is next week." "I know. I called it." That got her attention. "Listen, Lara. We both know this little power play is just that. Play. You're not actually going to interfere with Trenton's career. No?" I pulled up documents on my tablet. These offshore transfers he authorized last year. They're fascinating reading. Soleil's perfectly composed face flickered. "Those were approved." "By whom?" "Because as trustee, I never saw them." I swiped to another page. "And these shell companies he created? Very creative names. Almost like he was hiding something." "Be careful," she said softly. "You're making powerful enemies." "I'm counting on it." I met her gaze. "How's Sawyer?" The name drop wasn't subtle, but it worked. Soleil's mask cracked slightly. "He misses you," she admitted. "Keeps asking when Aunt Lara will visit." "Bring him by sometime. I'm setting up a children's art corner." "That's not—" Her phone buzzed. The color drained from her face as she read the message. "Let me guess," I said. "Trenton just got the preliminary audit findings?" She stood abruptly. "This isn't over. Actually, it is. Theodore's team found everything. Every account, every transfer, every lie." I walked to my easel, picking up a brush. "The board meets Tuesday. Trenton might want to prepare his resignation speech." "You would destroy your own brother?" "He had no problem destroying me. I started mixing colors. Actions have consequences, remember? After she stormed out, I called Theodore. How bad is it? Worse than we thought, he replied. Trenton wasn't just skimming, he was gambling with trust assets. High-risk investments, unauthorized loans. If this goes public, he'd face criminal charges. Potentially. The SEC would certainly be interested. I thought of Sawyer. Give me options. We can handle it internally. Force his resignation. Implement oversight. Keep it quiet for the boy's sake. And Soleil? Her family's been making calls. They're worried about scandal. I remembered Grand's journal entry from that morning. Mercy can be a weapon too, when wielded precisely. My phone buzzed. A text from Ruby. Your brother's ex-girlfriend just reached out. Says she has dirt. Meeting her for coffee tomorrow. Coming? Set up a meeting with Trenton, I told Theodore. Just him. No Soleil, no lawyers. You sure? Yes. And Theodore? Pull the records on every board member. Let's see who else has been playing fast and loose. After hanging up, I returned to my painting. It was coming together. A family portrait, but abstract, fractured. Mother's ice blue eyes, father's gray silhouette, Trenton's golden boy glow all breaking apart. My assistant knocked. Ms. Holmes, your father's here. I almost said no, but Grand's voice echoed in my head. Sometimes the quiet ones surprise you most. Send him in. Father looked older than at dinner. He stood awkwardly by the door, newspaper conspicuously absent. Nice space, he said finally. Thanks. Your grandmother, she had a gallery like this. Did you know? I do now. He nodded slowly. She offered to fund my writing once, before I met your mother. I said no. Went into finance instead. I stopped painting. This was new. Why are you telling me this? Because I recognized your look at dinner. It was Nora's look, when she knew she had won. He sighed. Don't destroy Trenton completely. He's still your brother. He stopped being my brother the day he laughed at my dreams. Then be better than us. He turned to leave, then paused. The painting. It's good. Really good. After he left, I stared at my canvas. The fractured family portrait stared back. With careful strokes, I added a new element, a small figure on the edges, holding a paintbrush like a sword. My phone buzzed again. Theodore. Found something big. How deep do you want to dig? I thought of Father's words, of Sawyer's innocent face, of Grand's legacy. All the way, I typed back. Show me everything. Your father did what? Ruby nearly spat out her coffee across my studio floor. I handed her Theodore's latest report. Borrowed against the trust to cover failed investments. 8 of them. Mother probably doesn't even know. Holy shit. Ruby scanned the numbers. This could bankrupt them. Already has, technically. They're living on borrowed time and borrowed money. I gestured to the stack of papers on my desk. The whole family fortune is basically a house of cards. So what's your play? Before I could answer, my assistant poked her head in. Ms. Holmes, there's someone here to see you. Says his name is Ibrahim. My stomach dropped. Ruby's face darkened. Your ex? The one who dumped you when you couldn't afford fancy dates anymore? Send him away, I started, but he was already pushing past my assistant. Lara! Ibrahim's smile was exactly as I remembered. Charming, practiced, perfect. Baby, you look amazing. Don't baby me. I crossed my arms. What do you want? Can I visit an old friend? Especially one who's making waves in the art world. He glanced around the studio. Nice space. Your grandmother would have loved it. That stopped me cold. How did you... I visited her, you know, after we broke up. She always liked me. Ruby snorted. She tolerated you. There's a difference. Ibrahim ignored her. She told me about her gallery days. Said you reminded her of herself. He stepped closer. I've been thinking about you, Laura. About us. Funny, I said. You weren't thinking about us when you ghosted me last year. I was stupid. Immature. He reached for my hand. But I've grown. And now that I'm rich, I pulled away. Now that I have power? That's not, get out. Lara, please. Ruby stepped between us. She said get out, before I remove you myself. After he left, Ruby turned to me. You okay? Perfect timing, I said, checking my phone. Mother's here. What? Why? Because I just donated the Hamptons house. The papers should be hitting the society pages right about. A commotion erupted in the hallway. Mother burst in, face flushed with rage. An artist collective? She shrieked. You gave our summer home to hippies? Actually, it's a residency program for emerging artists. I held up the press release. Want to see your quote? The Holmes family is proud to continue our grandmother's legacy of supporting the arts. How dare you? Those summer galas were my life. No, Mother. They were your costume. Just like everything else. She deflated slightly, sinking onto my paint-stained couch. You don't understand. That house, it was my escape. From what? From, she gestured vaguely. Everything. Your father's failures, the pressure. Do you know what it's like, maintaining our position? Our position? I laughed. Mother, there is no position. It's all smoke and mirrors. Gran's money propped up your lifestyle while father gambled away his inheritance. She went very still. What are you talking about? I handed her the reports. Watched her face change as she read. This can't be true. Every word. Want to know the best part? Gran knew. She knew everything. That's why she chose me. She chose you to punish us. No. I sat across from her. She chose me because I was the only one who saw her as a person, not a bank account. Mother's hands trembled as she set down the papers. What happens now? That depends on you. Keep fighting me, and I'll expose everything. Work with me, and we can rebuild. Differently this time. You sound just like her. Mother stood, straightening her designer jacket. She would have loved this, you know. The drama of it all. I learned from the best. As she reached the door, she paused. The Artist Collective. Will they keep the rose garden? Yes. Gran's condition in her journal. Preserve the gardens. Something flickered across her face. Recognition. Maybe even respect. Then it was gone. After she left, Ruby whistled low. That was intense. It's not over. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Trenton, a text from Theodore about more offshore accounts, and a message from an unknown number. You've made enemies. Watch your back. Ruby read over my shoulder. Creepy. Think it's Ibrahim? Could be anyone. I saved the number. Doesn't matter. We're past the point of threats. What's next? I pulled up the trust documents on my laptop. Trenton's hearing. Time to decide. Do I burn it all down or? I thought of Sawyer's innocent face, of father's confession, of mother's trembling hands. Or we build something new from the ashes. My phone buzzed again. Theodore. Found something in your grandmother's old files. You need to see this immediately. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. They tried to put her in a home? I stared at the documents Theodore had spread across his desk. When? 5 years ago. He pointed to the paperwork. Your parents filed for conservatorship. Claimed she was mentally unfit to manage her assets. The documents told an ugly story. Medical evaluations scheduled without Gran's knowledge. Legal papers drawn up in secret. A plan to transfer everything to my parents' control. What stopped them? You did. Theodore smiled. Remember that summer you stayed with her? When you were recovering from your gallery rejection? I nodded. Those 3 months had saved me. Gran's quiet support, her stories, her unwavering faith in my art. You were her witness, her proof of competency. They couldn't move forward with you there, documenting everything in your sketchbooks. My phone buzzed. Another tabloid alert. Soleil had been busy, painting me as an ungrateful granddaughter, destroying the family legacy. The comments were vicious. The hearing's tomorrow, Theodore reminded me. Trenton's lawyers will use this publicity against you. Let them try. I pulled out Gran's journal, opening to her final entry. They'll call you cruel, ungrateful. Remember, truth is the best weapon. A commotion outside interrupted us. Ruby burst in, dragging a struggling Abraham. Look what I caught trying to break into your studio. She shoved him into a chair. Tell her. Ibrahim's perfect hair was messed up, his designer shirt wrinkled. Lara, baby, I can explain. He was photographing your financial documents, Ruby spat. Guess who's paying him? Trenton, I asked, though I already knew. Ibrahim's silence was answer enough. Get him out of here. I turned to Theodore. Add attempted corporate espionage to tomorrow's evidence list. As Ruby escorted Ibrahim out, my phone rang. Soleil's number. Calling to confess, I answered. Lara, please. Her voice was different, scared. It's Sawyer. He's missing. My heart stopped. What? He was at school then. We can't find him. The police are searching, but have you checked the art museum? I was already grabbing my keys. The one near his school? Silence. Then, how did you know? Because he told me it's his safe place. When things get loud at home. I headed for my car. I'm on my way. I found him exactly where I expected, in the modern art wing, sitting cross-legged in front of a massive abstract painting. Hey, buddy. Hi, Aunt Lara. He didn't look up. Are Mom and Dad fighting again? Everyone's worried about you. I sat beside him. Want to tell me what happened? Dad was yelling. About you. About money. His small face scrunched up. He said you're ruining everything. But you're not bad. You're like this painting. Everyone sees something different, but that doesn't make it wrong. Out of the mouths of babes. Your parents are on their way, I said gently. But can I show you something first? I pulled out my phone, showing him photos of the children's art space I was creating in my studio. His eyes lit up. Can I come? Anytime. As long as your parents say it's okay. They won't. He looked down. They say art is a waste of time. You know who else they said that to? Gran. Really? Really. And look what she built. I squeezed his hand. Sometimes the people who say you can't are the ones most afraid that you can. Footsteps echoed through the gallery. Soleil appeared, Trenton right behind her. Sawyer! She rushed forward, pulling him into a fierce hug. Trenton glared at me. Stay away from my son. Dad, no! Sawyer struggled free. Aunt Lara understands. Like Gran did. Something flickered in Trenton's eyes. Recognition, maybe even fear. The hearing's tomorrow, I said quietly. Think carefully about what matters most. Back in my car, I called Theodore. Send me everything we have on Trenton's deals. All of it. Going nuclear? I thought of Sawyer's face when he talked about art, of Gran, fighting to maintain control of her life, of all the dreams my family had tried to crush. No, I replied. Going honest. It's time everyone saw the truth. My phone buzzed with another message from the unknown number. Last chance to back down. I smiled, thinking of Gran's words. They mistake kindness for weakness, mercy for surrender. Show them how wrong they are. Theodore, I said, prep the video evidence. Tomorrow, we end this. All of it? All of it. No more shadows. No more lies. It was time to step into the light and bring everything with me. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters. Soleil's PR campaign had worked, just not the way she intended. Family fortune fraud? Screamed one headline. Artistic justice, declared another. Ruby squeezed my arm as we walked in. Ready? Born ready. Inside, my family had already assembled. Mother, perfect posture betraying nothing. Father, newspaper absent for once, looking older than ever. Trenton and his lawyers, a small army in expensive suits. Soleil, dressed for cameras rather than court. And in the back, small and quiet, Sawyer, clutching a rolled-up paper. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, called the court to order. Trenton's lawyer stood first, all polished confidence. Your Honor, this is a simple case of familial spite. My client, if I may, Theodore interrupted, approaching the bench with a thick folder. Before we proceed, the trust would like to submit new evidence. The lawyer paled. Objection. No new evidence was filed last night, Theodore finished smoothly. All parties were notified. I watched Trenton's face as the judge reviewed the documents. The exact moment he realized what they were. The color drained from his face. These offshore accounts, the judge said slowly. Mr. Holmes, care to explain? Trenton stood, straightening his tie. Those transactions were authorized. By whom? I asked, standing. Not by Gran, not by me. Should we discuss where the money went? His lawyer whispered urgently in his ear, but Trenton waved him off. This is ridiculous. I built that company. No, I cut in. Gran built it. You just took credit, like you always do. Theodore projected documents onto the courtroom screen. Bank transfers, shell companies, failed investments covered up with trust money. Your Honor, Theodore said, we have evidence of systematic fraud spanning 5 years. Additionally, enough! Trenton slammed his hand on the table. You want to play hardball, little sister? Let's talk about your art scam, your galleries that never make money. I smiled. Funny you should mention that. Theodore changed the projection. My gallery's financials appeared, all above board, all legitimate. Unlike some people, I said clearly, I believe in honest work. The judge leafed through more documents. These attempted conservatorship papers. Mother flinched. Father looked away. Are relevant, Theodore confirmed, as they establish a pattern of attempted financial control through questionable means. Your Honor, Trenton's lawyer tried again. Your client committed fraud, the judge stated flatly. The only question is whether this stays civil or becomes criminal. The room went silent. Soleil grabbed Trenton's arm, whispering frantically. The trust, I said, standing, is willing to handle this internally, under certain conditions. The judge raised an eyebrow. Proceed. First, Trenton resigns from all family business positions. Second, full financial transparency going forward. Third, I turned to face my brother. You apologize to Sawyer. What? He looked genuinely confused. For teaching him that art is worthless, that creativity is weakness, that money is more important than joy. I never... Dad? Sawyer's small voice cut through the tension. He walked forward, unrolling his paper. I made this for you. It was a drawing. Beautiful, raw, honest. A family fractured but not broken. In the corner, in a child's careful writing, we can be better. Trenton stared at it for a long moment. Something in his face changed. He swallowed hard. I'm sorry, son. The judge cleared her throat. Given the evidence, and the trust's willingness to handle this privately, I'm ruling in favor of the current trustee. All conditions will be enforced. Mr. Holmes, consider yourself lucky. Dismissed. As people filed out, Sawyer tugged my sleeve. Aunt Lara, can I still come to your art space? Of course, buddy. We'll bring him, Soleil said quietly. If the offer still stands. I nodded. Some bridges weren't meant to burn completely. Outside, the reporters swarmed, but Theodore's team held them back. Mother approached me, father beside her. You won, she said simply. It wasn't about winning. No, Father agreed. It was about truth. Like Nora always said. I thought of Gran's journal, her final entry. Power isn't in what you can take. It's in what you choose to give. Family dinner, I said suddenly. Next week, at my gallery. No lawyers, no press, just us. And art? Mother's lips quirked slightly. And art. As they walked away, Ruby linked her arm through mine. You did it. We did it. I watched Sawyer showing his drawing to his parents. Trenton actually looking, actually seeing. Think Gran would be proud? Are you kidding? She's probably dancing somewhere right now. My phone buzzed. A message from Theodore. Ready to announce the new Holmes Arts Foundation? I smiled, thinking of Gran's gallery photo, of Sawyer's drawing, of all the artists who needed what I once needed. Someone to believe in them. Ready, I typed back. Let's build something beautiful. The gallery hummed with life, children's laughter mixing with adult conversation, the smell of paint and possibility in the air. Sawyer led a group of kids in what he called abstract expression time, their small hands creating wild, beautiful chaos on a shared canvas. He's good with them, Ruby said, handing me a coffee. Natural teacher, takes after his great-grandmother. I watched Trenton and Soleil observing from the corner, their faces a mix of pride and lingering discomfort. Some changes take time. Mother swept in, perfectly coiffed as always, but different somehow. Softer around the edges. The Foundation's first exhibition is getting excellent press. Thanks to your connections, I acknowledged. She'd surprised everyone by throwing herself into the project, her social network becoming a force for actual good. Nora would have loved this. She gestured to the space, my original studio now expanded into a proper arts center, though she'd probably add more sculptures. Check the garden plans. Her eyes lit up. You didn't. Gran's journal had detailed drawings. The sculpture garden opens next month. Father appeared, newspaper tucked under his arm but unread. The writing workshop is full again. Your workshop, I corrected. He'd started teaching creative writing to adults, finally embracing his old passion. The waiting list was getting ridiculous. Theodore entered through the back, carrying a familiar leather-bound book. Found this while clearing out the last of Nora's papers. Another journal. My heart skipped. There's more? Her early years. Building the empire? He handed it to me. But that's not the interesting part. Look at the last page. I opened it carefully. A letter fell out, addressed to me, dated just weeks before her death. My dearest Lara, by now you've claimed your power, used it, wielded it, maybe even feared it. But power isn't the legacy I wanted to leave you. The truth is, I was angry when I made you trustee. Angry at what they'd done to you, to your spirit. I wanted revenge. But you're better than that. You've proven it by what you're building now. The foundation, the art center, the families you're helping, that's the real power. Not the money, not the control, the ability to create change. There's one last thing you need to do. Write your own will. Choose your own successor. Make it someone who sees beauty in broken things, strength in soft hearts. Someone like you. All my love. Gran. P.S. Check behind the loose brick in the garden wall. I left something for your next great adventure. I looked up at Theodore. The garden wall? He smiled, producing a small box. Already retrieved. Inside was a key and a deed to a rundown theater downtown. A note attached read, "For your next masterpiece, dream bigger." She never stopped planning, did she? Ruby laughed. Never. I pocketed the key. Think it's haunted? Definitely haunted, Sawyer chimed in, paint splattered and grinning. Can I help restore it? Ask your parents. Trenton stepped forward. We'll all help, if you want. The offer hung in the air, an olive branch, a new beginning. I'd like that, I said softly. Mother touched the journal. Will you share her stories? Some. Others stay private. I thought of Gran's words about truth and power. But I'll tell you about her first gallery, how she built it, who she helped. I'd like that too, Father said. The children's laughter echoed through the space again. Sawyer had returned to his class, teaching them about mixing colors. Through the windows, I could see the garden taking shape, new life growing in old soil. My phone buzzed. A message from the contractor about the theater. Place has good bones. When do we start? I looked around the gallery, at my family, broken but healing. At the art, messy but honest. At the future, uncertain but bright. Tomorrow, I typed back. We start tomorrow. Ruby nudged me. What are you thinking? I touched Gran's journal, feeling the weight of her legacy, not in money or power, but in truth and possibility. I'm thinking about wills, I said, about choosing successors. And I watched Sawyer teaching, his small hands guiding even smaller ones, watched him find joy in helping others create. I'm thinking some choices are easier than others. The gallery filled with evening light, painting everything in soft gold. Mother arranged flowers in the corner. Father jotted notes for his next workshop. Trenton and Soleil studied the children's artwork with new eyes. And me? I had a theater to restore, a foundation to run, and a family to rebuild. Not perfect, but real. Not whole, but healing. I used to beg for a seat at their table. Now I build stages for others to shine. Gran would definitely approve.